leadeth me, O blessed thought, O words with heavenly comfort fraught. Whate'er I do, where'er I be, still 'tis God's hand that leadeth me. He leadeth me by his own hand. He leadeth me. His faithful follower I would be, for by his hand he leadeth me. Sometimes it seems of deepest gloom, sometimes weary as flowers bloom. By water still or troubled sea, still 'tis his hand that leadeth me. He leadeth me by his own hand. He leadeth me. His faithful follower I would be, for by his hand he leadeth me. Lord, I would clasp thine hand in mine, nor ever glory mine. Content whatever lot I see, since 'tis thy hand that leadeth me. He leadeth me by his own hand. He leadeth me. His faithful follower I would be, for by his hand he leadeth me. And when my task on earth is done, when by thy grace the victory's won, in death's cold wave I will not flee, since God through Jordan leadeth me. He leadeth me by his own hand. He leadeth me. His faithful follower I would be, for by his hand he leadeth me. I am weak, but thou art strong. Jesus, keep me from all wrong. I'll be satisfied as long as I walk here, Lord, close to thee. Just a closer walk with thee. Grant it, Jesus, this my plea. Daily let it ever be. Just a closer walk with thee. this world of toils and snares. If I falter, Lord, who cares? Who with me my burden shares? Let me walk close to thee. Just a closer walk with me. Granted, Jesus, this might please my heart. Daily let it ever be. Just a closer walk, just a closer walk with thee. When my feeble life is o'er, time for me will be no more. Guide me to that peaceful shore. Let me walk close to thee. Just a closer walk with thee. Granted, Jesus, this might please my heart. Daily let it ever be. Just a closer walk with me.
Magandang gabi mga kapatid. So ngayon po ang gabi ng Biyernes, Friday night, 8 p.m. Ito po ang ating oras para tayo po ay mangaral po sa Facebook. Tayo po nagpapasalamat sa teknolohiya ng Facebook na nagkakaroon po tayo ng pagkakataon na makapangaral sa ganitong paraan kahit na ito po yung unlimited ito actually. Basta nakatuon po sa Facebook ay maaaring makinig sa ating at manood sa ating pangangaral. Ano po. So sa ating po mga kakabsat, na ibang gabi kada kay amin kakabsat sa ating mga kaibigan, mga kapatid dyan sa Pangasinan, masanto sa labi, at kayo namin sa ating mga katugangan sa Bicol Region. Diyos maray nabanggi sa Indugabos. Dito po sa ating mga kaigsuonan, mayang gabi sa inyong tanan, mga igsuon. Sa January 18-19, magkakaroon po ng gospel meeting. Diyan po sa may San Isidro, Preto Diaz, Sorsogon. Ang makakaral po dyan ay si Brother Eleazar Embenga, aka Larry Embenga. So tayo po ay excited na makarating dyan sa 18. Pero January 17 po ay alis na po kami rito sa Angeles City at lilipad po sa maglalanding sa may Caragal Bay at Daragal Bay tapos maglaland travel patungo sa Pero Diaz, Sorsogon. Di malayo po pero okay lang po yun. Tayo po ay yun po isang pagkakataon na makapaglingkod at makapangaral ng Ebanghelyo. So, kung kayo po ay malapit dyan sa may San Isidro, Preto Diaz, Sorsogon, kayo po ay inibitahan po in behalf ng Church of Christ sa may San Isidro, Preto Diaz, Sorsogon. Sa ating pong pag-aaral sa gabing ito, ay pagpapatuloy lang po natin ang ating nasimulan noong Miyerkules ng gabi patungkol po sa what is liberalism. Ito po ay isang mahalagang bagay kasi tuwing bawat generasyon, nagkakaroon po ng ganito klaseng suliranin sa mga kapatid. Historically, every generation has an issue about liberalism. 1950s, 1960s. It's about church benevolence for needy non-saints, church support for human organization, yung pong issue noon. Prior to that, nagkaroon ng issue sa premillennialism. Tapos nung first beginning ng 19th century, nagkaroon ng division sa pagitan ng magkakapatid na nagresulta po ng Christian Church na gumagamit ng panugtog at ng Church of Christ na lumalaban sa panugtog. Po, makikita natin every generation, kahit all the way sa bagong tipan, meron talagang issues among brethren. Ito po ay parang ulit-ulit. So we need to learn from history. Dahil may kasabihan, history repeats itself. Sa obserbasyon po ng inyong abang lingkod, nakikita natin ang simula ng panibagong kontrobersya sa mga kapatid. Kung kayo po ay observant sa mga Facebook na yan, makikita niyo yung mga bagay na ginagawa ng mga kapatid na walang otoridad na gaya sa pananaksulatan. So yun po ang basically ng ibig sabihin ng liberalism. Liberalism is in religion, ano po, as far as religion is concerned, ang ibig sabihin niya sa relihiyon, you are yung sabihin, you are doing something or teaching something not authorized by the New Testament. Yun ang liberalism. You going beyond the doctrine of Christ. Pag lumalampas tayo sa ani Kristo, yun po ay liberalism. Sometimes, brethren do not realize that they are doing something not authorized by the Scriptures. Minsan hindi nila papansin kasi katulad po ng mga nakikita na sa Facebook, merong church anniversary, church Thanksgiving, birthday parties inside the church building. Kung yan ay alam nilang mali, hindi nila ipopost yan. But the reason they post it, maybe they are ignorant or not knowing that they are practicing something not authorized by the Scriptures. Yun po mahirap dyan. Pag hindi natin naunawaan kung ano ang ibig sabihin ng pagiging tapat sa Diyos at ang paglalampas sa kanyang kalooban, ay tayo po ay maliligaw mula sa katotohanan. Kaya kailangan po tayo mag-ingat. Sabi nga po ni Apostle Paul sa 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 16. Pinag-iingat po yung si Apostle si Timothy sa kanyang aral. Sabi po rito, basahin natin. Take it to yourself and to the doctrine, continue them, for in doing this, you'll save both yourself and those who hear you. So we need to take care of what we teach. Dahil makikinig po sa atin, ay mapapahamak kung mali ang ating itinuturo. O kaya kung mali ang ating ipinagagawa sa mga kapatid, sila po ay mapapahamak. So, yung nakikita natin nung last time na pinag-aralan po natin about the church, we cannot change anything about the church. Wala tayong pwedeng palitan sa iglesia ng ating Panginoon. Katulad po lang sinabi ng Diyos kay Moses, na sabi niya, mag-ingat na itayo ang tabernakulo ayon sa huwara na pinakita sa kanya ng Diyos sa bundok. We cannot change anything about the church. We cannot change its name. We cannot change its work. We cannot change its worship. Hindi natin pwedeng palitan ng kanyang pagsamba. We cannot change its teaching. Kasi we just have to teach the doctrine of Christ. So, hindi natin pwedeng palitan yan. We cannot change anything about the church. It is not our church. It is the Lord's. It is dito po sa Ephesians chapter 1, everything in the church should be authorized by Jesus. Yun ang sinasabi. So, Ephesians chapter 1, verse 22 to verse 23. And he put all things under his feet and gave him to be the head over all things to the church, which is his body, the fullness of him who fills all in all. Sabi rito, and gave him to be head over all things to the church. So lahat ng mga bagay sa iglesia ay dapat ay authorized ng ating Panginoon. Sa Matthew chapter 28 verse 18, sinasabi ng all authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. So lahat ng kapamahalaan sa larangan ng pananampalataya ay binigay sa ating Panginoon. So in other words, wala tayong pwedeng palitan. Sabi nga po natin na nakarang Miyerkules, if you change anything, if you modify the Lord's pattern in the New Testament, we are implying that we are better than the Lord. Diba? Tayo mas magaling kaysa sa Panginoon. Hindi mo pwedeng palitan. Ang Diyos lamang ang nakakaalam kung anong tama. Kaya punta po tayo sa history na po. Liberalism started during the Restoration period. Ito po yung ironic, may mga kapatid na nanggaling sa mga denominations at bumalik sa katotohanan. There were brethren who came from the denominations and returned to the truth. Pero pagkaroon ng ilang panahon, kaunting panahon, sila po yung maalis. Unti-unti silang umalis sa katotohanan. Slowly the brethren departed from the truth. For instance, there was a change in organization. Pinalitan nila ang organisasyon ng iglesia from purely congregational to a centralized form. Yung pinakauna po ay doon 1830 si Alexander Campbell. Meron siyang sinimula. Ano po yan? He founded the Millennial Harbinger, ito po isang magazine, established Bethany College in Virginia in 1840, now sa panahon sa West Virginia, and agitated unsuccessfully for a general church organization. So, siya po ay nagpo-promote na magkaroon po ng isang centralized church organization based on congregational representation. In other words, magkakaroon po ng representative about church sa isang kongregasyon na yun. The first General Convention met at Cincinnati, Ohio in 1849 and launched the American Christian Missionary Society. Ngayon, dito po sa kanyang, dahil siya nagtagumpay doon sa General Church Organization na magkaroon po ng representative ang bawat local church doon sa organization na yon, ang ginawa niya, yung American Christian Missionary Society ay society of individuals. So, ito po ay bahala ang individual kung pupunta sa Rome and not an ecclesiastical body. So, ibig sabihin, sa kanyang pagtingin, ito ay voluntaryong pagsali ng mga kapatid doon sa American Christian Missionary Society. Meron po magkatulad ng ngayon na nagsisilputan, similar cooperative organizations emerged in various states to support evangelists and to establish new churches. The Christian Women's Board of Missions, 1874, and the Foreign Christian Missionary Society, 1875. So nagkaroon po ng iba-iba klaseng organisasyon na ang primary purpose ay magpadala ng mga mangaral sa ibang bansa. So yung Centennial Convention at Pittsburgh, Ohio noong 1909, tandaan natin, 1849 po yung simula, claim an attendance of 30,000 na mga galing sa iba't ibang Churches of Christ. Ito po ay galing sa Britannica, www.britannica.com/topic/disciples-of-Christ. So ito po ay kasaysaya. In other words, hindi sila nakontento doon sa kaisa ng Diyos. Ang kaisa ng Diyos ay bawat kongregasyon ay autonomous at independent at walang organisasyon ng mga local churches. Hindi sila nakontento doon. Dahil gusto nilang magkaroon na mas mabilis na paglaganap ng Ebanghelyo, gumawa sila ng sariling paraan para mapabilis ang paglaganap ng Ebanghelyo sa iba't ibang bansa. So, nagresulta po ng ang mga Churches of Christ ay sila po ay nagsusupport ng isang organisasyon na ginawa ng tao. Yung una, na binanggit po rito, yung American Christian Missionary Society. So, anong problema doon? Ang isang organisasyon ginawa ng tao ang siyang gumagawa ng gawain ng iglesia. In other words, ang pangangaral ay gawain ng iglesia yun. Hindi sa pagkakataon na ito na ginawa ni Alexander Campbell, gawa siya ng human organization to do a work of the church, in effect, evangelism. He began a human organization to do a work of the church, evangelism. Sila yung nagpadala ng mga misyonaryo sa iba't ibang mga bansa. Dahil dito, siyempre, there were those brethren who opposed such unscriptural setup. So ito yung mga conservative ng panahon na yon. So in 1906, nagkaroon po ng division sa dalawang pangkat na mga kapatid. On the other hand, yung Church of Christ, which opposed the human organization and the use of instrumental music in worship. On the other hand, the Christian Church, na sila yung may panugtog, they have the instrumental music, and they support the American Christian Missionary Society. So, nagkaroon ng division. Siyempre, magkakaroon ng division yan dahil yung mga kapatid, those brethren who try to be faithful to the pattern will oppose any scriptural setup. Di ba? Totoo yan. Siyempre, nalaban ka doon sa wala sa banal na kasulatan. So, 1906, nagkaroon ng dalawang pangkat ng mga kapatid, Church of Christ and Christian Church. In 1968, there was a division in the Christian Church. Nagkaroon naging Disciples of Christ, yung mas liberal na bahagi, and the Christian Church na mas conservative kaysa sa Disciples of Christ. So in the Philippines, kung kayo po yung observant, pag nakakita kayo ng Church of Christ 1901, yun ay gumagamit ng panugtog. Pag nakakita kayo ng Church of Christ tapos parenthesis disciples, hindi lang may panugtog yan, mayroong mga babaeng pastor, etc. So, yun po yung malayo ng malayan sa kalooban ng Diyos. Kasi sinimpon niya yun. Isang magandang kaisipan na mapabilis ang pangalan ng Ebanghelyo pero nagawa ng hindi tamang paraan. Sila lumabas sa kaisa ng Diyos. So, hindi po maganda yun. It will result in a division. Pasinin niya. Pagkamang kapatid, when the brothers begin to depart from the truth, there will be a division. Magkano tatlong pangkat yan. The first, the sound brethren, who will oppose unscriptural teaching and practices. The middle of the road, yung compromiser. At saka yung liberal, yung gumagawa ng mga scriptural na mga bagay. Tatlong grupo yan. Eventually, middle of the road, pupunta rin sa mali yan. Dahil wala silang paninindigan. So, mahiwalay yung mga kapatid. So, yun ang masama dun sa ikaw ay hindi sumusunod sa kalooban ng Diyos. Dito po sa 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 6. Yan ang sinasabi ni Apostle Paul. Now, these things, brethren, I have figuratively transferred to myself and Apollos for your sakes, that you may learn in us not to think beyond what is written, that none of you may be puffed up on behalf of one against the other. So kaya nagkakaroon ng division dahil yung iba ay lumalabas sa nakasulat. Siyempre, hindi papayag yung hindi lumalabas dahil nakikita natin ang prinsipyo ng fellowship. So 2 John 9, siyempre, kung tayo takot sa Panginoon, hindi ka papayag doon, hindi ka sasama doon. Sa 2 John 9, ito po sinasabi ni John, whoever transgresses or goes beyond and does not abide in the doctrine of Christ does not have God. So kung tayo po ay lumalampas at dinanatili sa amin Kristo, wala ang Diyos sa atin. He who abides in the doctrine of Christ has both the Father and the Son. Kung mananatili sa aral ni Kristo, nasa atin ang Ama at ang Anak. Verse 10, if anyone comes to you and does not bring this doctrine, do not receive him into your house nor greet him. Hindi tayo pwede makasama sa isang taong din dinadala ng ating Panginoon. For he who greets him shares in his evil deeds. Pag tinanggap mo siya doon sa kanya maling aral, kasama ka na sa kanya. Kasama ka na doon sa kanya maling ginagawa. Kaya yung mga sound brethren will not compromise. They will stay with the truth. On the other hand, yung lumabas those brethren who are departing from the truth will divide. Magkakaroon division yan. Next, yung sponsoring church. There was a change in organization. Nagkaroon po ang tinatawag sponsoring church. Si J.D. Thomas sa kanyang sponsoring church arrangement. Ito po yung mababasa natin sa We Be Brethren, page 355. Ito yung sulat ni Brother J.D. Thomas. Sponsoring church arrangement. One congregation that especially oversees a project such as a mission society, in which other congregations have an interest and to which they voluntarily contribute regularly. The fact that the other churches contribute to a project this is overseen by the elders of one church is the central idea. So ito po ang kaisipan ng ibang mga kapatid tungkol sa sponsoring church. Pinalitan nila ang bawat congregation ay malaya at independyente sa isa't isa. So nangyari, mayroong isang congregation na mayroon siyang ginagawang project. Sabi ni J.D. Thomas, halimbawa, such a mission society. Katulad ng missionary society na binanggit natin kanina. Kung na mangyayari, ibang kongregasyon na gusto rin nila yon, magpapadala sila ng pera doon sa kongregasyon na yon. At yung kongregasyon na tumanggap ng pera, silang bahala doon sa pera na gagamitin nila. So nawawala yung oversight na nagpapadala ng kongregasyon na nagpapadala ng pera doon sa tumatanggap na kongregasyon. So ito po ay unscriptural. Bakit? A sponsoring church is a congregation which assumes the oversight and control of some activity in the general field of evangelism, edification, or benevolence. Being general, the work involved is not the exclusive responsibility of one congregation, but the work of all local churches according to their ability. The congregation assuming the oversight and control cannot sustain the work undertaken alone. So yung gustong gawa ng isang gawain na hindi niya kayang gawin mag-isa, so kukuha siya kayo ng pondo sa ibang kongregasyon. Many congregations will delegate their funds and responsibilities to the overseeing and controlling congregation for their fulfillment and application or expenditure. The elders of the sponsoring church thus become the official board of a church corporation vested with the authority of overseeing, controlling, and prosecuting the work involved. Tagalogin natin. Makikita natin itong sponsoring church na sinasabi. Pagka isang kongregasyon ay mayroon siyang gustong gawin na hindi niya kayang gawin mag-isa. Halimbawa, meron sila sinusuportan ng mga anak. Meron sila sinusuportan ng radio program. Hindi nila kayang tususin mag-isa. So ang gagawin nila, sila po ay maglilikom ng salapi sa ibang mga kongregasyon. At yung naglilikom o kumukuha ng pondo sa ibang mga kongregasyon, siyang bahala at maging responsable doon sa pera na likom. At gagasusin nila doon sa project na gusto nilang gawin. Anong problema dito? Yung nagpapadala ng pondo, yung kongregasyon nagpapadala ng pondo, wala na siyang oversight sa kanyang pondo. Kasi bahala na yung receiving congregation doon sa project na gusto niyang gawin. Kung papansinin natin sa Biblia, sa Acts chapter 11, yung nagpadala po ng tulong ang mga sa iglesia ng Antioch, sa mga kapatid na nangangailangan sa Judea, meron silang oversight sa pera nila. Bakit? Basahin natin. Dito po sa Acts chapter 11, verse 28 to verse 30, then one of them named Agabus stood up and showed by the Spirit that there was going to be a great famine throughout all the world, which also happened in the days of Claudius Caesar. Then the disciples, each according to his ability, determined to send relief to the brethren dwelling in Judea. This they also did and sent it to the elders by the hands of Barnabas and Saul. So meron silang tagapagpadala. Ang naging tagapagpadala nila si Barnabas and Saul. Ibig sabihin, yung mga kapatid sa Antioch, interesado sila na yung pera nila ay matanggap ng mga kapatid na nangangailangan. Alam nila kung nangyari o hindi. So, meron silang oversight, di ba? Ganoon din po sa 1 Corinthians chapter 16. Minungkay ni Apostle Paul na yung congregation sa Corinth ay magpadala ng tulong sa mga kapatid sa Jerusalem. Basahin natin sa 1 Corinthians 16 verses 1 to 4. Now concerning the collection for the saints, as I have given orders to the church of Galatia, so you must do also. On the first day of the week, let each one of you lay something aside, storing up as he may prosper, that there be no collections when I come. And when I come, whomever you approve by your letter. Sabi-sabihin, ang kongregasyon doon sa Corinth, meron silang susuguin mula sa kanila na bahala siya doon sa pondo nila na ipapadala sa kapatid sa mga nangailang kapatid sa Jerusalem. Sabi niya, and when I come, whomever you approve by your letters, I will send to bear a gift to Jerusalem. But if it is fitting and that I go also, they will go with me. Sa bawat kongregasyon na tumulong sa mga kapatid doon sa Jerusalem, meron silang pinadalang representative din na silang bahala doon sa pondo nila. And dito po sa sponsoring church arrangement, nung 1960s, meron po the Herald of Truth doon sa Highland Church of Christ, doon sa Abilene, Texas. Yung church na yan, naglikom siya ng pondo sa ibang mga churches at sila ang bahalang doon sa radio program. Ngayon din po yung World Radio, Search, yung ganyan. Amazing Grace, One Nation Under God, Campaign America. Ito po yung halimbawa ng mga project na ginasusan ng isang sponsoring church. Kung gusto pa niya mabasa sa www.justchristians.com/resources/articles /2014/04/institutionalism -the-sponsoring-church. Makikita niya, mababasa niya. Ngayon, sa Pilipinas, malapit sa ating bansa, yung Philippine Bible College. Ito, nung sumila, ito po ginawa sa Taguig, Pangasinan, tapos nilipat sa Baguio City. Meron po niya dito sa isang article na sinulat po ni Wallace H. Little sa Truth Magazine. Itong sabi niya na po. While I was there on military assignment in February 1967, Ken Wilkie, who was then president of that school, Philippine Bible College, defended it, speaking for an hour at the Philippine-American lectureship held in the building of the Clark Air Base Church of Christ. The speech was taped and a copy brought to me later that evening. In the presence of my wife, Tom Hanson, and his wife, we noted his major points. He have testified to the accuracy of our information. Wilkie described what the Philippine Bible College was and would know better than its president. I have been accused repeatedly of misrepresenting that school, of getting my information concerning it from inaccurate sources. Ito po yung pananalita ni Wallace H. Little, namatay na po yun. If so, those who know it best do not know what it is. All the information I have on the Philippine Bible College came from Ken Wilkie and its other defenders and supporters. The following summarizes the points Wilkie made in his speech. The Philippine Bible College is an example of New Testament cooperative evangelism. So, sponsoring church. The Philippine Bible College is not an unscriptural organization. Tapos naglagay po ng talata, Matthew chapter 28, verse 19-20, Mark 16, 15, 16, 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2. To justify the Philippine Bible College. Pag binasa yung mga talata yun, wala naman sinasabing gano'n. Point number 4, the Philippine Bible College is an expedient way for the church to do its work in the Philippines. Point number 5, to prove the Philippine Bible College wrong, critics must produce a better way of training Filipino preachers. Para mapatunayan mali ang PBC kanya, magpakita kayo ng mas magandang paraan upang i-train ng mga Pilipino. Number 6, the Philippine Bible College was originally under the oversight of the elders of the Southwest Los Angeles Church of Christ. Now under those of the Inglewood Church. These were in our scriptural arrangement. In their work in the Philippine Bible College, the American missionaries are under the oversight of the Inglewood elders. This is scriptural. In other capacities, the missionaries are under the oversight of the elders of their sponsoring churches. This is scriptural. So ito po ay yung kay Wallace H. Little. So ito po ay informasyon mismo galing kay Ken Wilkie, the president ng Philippine Bible College. Pero problema dyan, the sponsoring church as well as the missionary society is a result of wrong concept of the universal church. The liberal concept of the universal church. The universal church is composed of local congregation and it is a way to activate the universal church. So kailang paningin ng universal church ay binubuo ng iba't ibang kongregasyon. At ito ang paraan para ang universal church ay gumalaw kanila. Pero alam po natin, yan ay mali sapagkat the universal church is composed of saved individuals by the gospel and it is the Lord who wants any saved persons into it. So yung universal church is not composed of local churches, it is composed of saved individuals. In Acts chapter 2 verse 47, praising God and having favor with all the people, and the Lord added to the church daily those who are being saved. So hindi po ito binubuo ng local churches, kundi mga individual na ligtas ng ating Panginoon. Pinilatan din po ang gawain ng iglesia. General Church Benevolence. Nagkaroon po ng tinatawag General Church Benevolence, meaning the church can help from its church treasury needy non-Christians. Ang iglesia mula sa kanyang pananalapi ay maaaring tumulong sa mga nangangailangan na hindi kapatid. Dito po sa kasaysayan po nito, dito po sa Second Bergen Logging, number 17. In 1947, Brother Otis Gatewood was drumming up support for the work of evangelizing Germany. World War II left Germany a beaten nation, and the ravages of that war brought a once proud and prosperous people on their knees. The Marshall Plan to refurbish Europe was in effect, and Gatewood and his team set out to refurbish Germany in the Church of Christ style. So, ibig sabihin nito, si Brother Otis Gatewood, ang sabi niya, we will help the German first before we can preach the gospel. Ibig sabihin, hindi pwedeng ipangaral ng Ebanghelyo sa mga German habang sila ay nagugutom. So tulungan muna natin sila para makapangaral tayo sa kanila. It failed. Dahil later on, yung Second Bergen Lage 17, ito isang address ng isang congregation sa Germany ay naging bahagi ng isang university. So wala ng Church of Christ yung sa Second Bergen Lage number 17. So it failed. Sapagkat hindi yan ang paraan para may pangalang Ebanghelyo, kundi ang ipangalan lang Ebanghelyo. Wala nang ibang kasama doon. Sapagkat ang kapangyarihan ng pagkaligtas ay sa pamamagitan ng Ebanghelyo. Romans chapter 1 verse 16. So yung mga tinatawag nating mga liberal na mga kapatid, they have a social gospel concept of the work of the church. Ang ibig sabihin, the church doesn't only deal with the spiritual needs, but also all the needs of a man. Education, etc., etc. Hindi lang po yung spiritual na pangangailangan, which is wrong. Ang church is a spiritual organization, tulad ng ating ipinangaral, wala siyang bahagi sa non-spiritual activities. Puro spiritual lang. Evangelism, edification, limited church benevolence to needy saints. There was entertainment, social activities to entertain brethren. Ito po ay documented dahil ito po ay galing mismo sa isang babasahin na inilathala ng mga kapatid na liberal. Philippine Christian Chronicle, Volume 1, Issue number 4, March 1999, page 1. Quote, Cebu Churches of Christ conducted their first ever two-day inter-congregational fellowship last March 6 to 7. On the first day, they had sports activities, sack race, hit the pot, trip to Jerusalem, Mario went to town, banana eating contest, etc. Sipin niyo, imagine niyo itong mga churches na ito sa Christ sa Cebu, ginawa nila yon. At tinawag nilang fellowship. Fellowship is purely spiritual. Hindi ginagamit siya sa non-spiritual na mga bagay. Sa itong fellowship, nagkaroon sila ng sports activities, sack race, hit the pot, trip to Jerusalem, Maria went to town, banana eating contest. Imagine po natin na mga Kristiyano sa first century kung ginawa nila yun. Apostle Paul, ginawa niya yun. Marami tayo mababasa. Ang trabaho ng iglesia ay purely spiritual. Wala siyang kaugnayan sa mga bagay, ibang pangangailangan ng tao na walang kaugnayan sa kanyang espiritu ng pangangailangan. Kapag ito ng dahilan bakit tinatag ng Panginoon ang kanyang iglesia, so, mayroon pang entertainment. Ngayon, sa kasalukuyang panahon, ito po kami nagsasalita na may katibayan. Hindi tayo pwede magsalita ng haka-haka lang o hearsay, yan po yung kasalanan nyo. Meron pong nakikita natin sa Facebook. Ang ginagawa po natin dyan, screenshot natin. Kasi kung minsan, pagka binubura nila para mapatunayan na hindi totoong sinasabi natin. In-screenshot ko sila. Isa. Pag namin ako nakikita ganun, in-screenshot ko. Para meron tayong katibayan na ginagawa nila yun. Later on, they will yung para bagang they will negate. Hindi namin ginawa yan. We didn't do that. Hindi na masasabi yan because there is proof. Screenshot, hindi masama yun. Kasi by my experience, pag nagkaroon ng controversy, dinideny nila. They deny it. Ay, hindi namin ginawa yan. Hindi naman po tayo investigasyon ng bayan. We are trying to prove a point na itong mga bagay nito yung mali. This church anniversary, yung meron yan. Tulad ng ating pinag-aralan una, there is no scriptural authority for a church anniversary. Wala masamang maalala natin na kung kailan tayo nagsimulang maging kongregasyon, pero hindi pinag-utos ng Diyos na we will have a special day for church anniversary. Church Thanksgiving. Walang masamang pasalamat sa Diyos sa lahat ng biyaya. Pero there is the scriptural authority for a special day for a church Thanksgiving or birthday celebrations inside the building. Saan natin mababasa yung mga yan? Ang sabi nila, ang kailang reason, we are doing preaching. Meron naman pangangaral sa church anniversary. Meron pangangaral sa church Thanksgiving. Meron pangangaral sa birthday celebration inside the building. But actually, the preaching is just an excuse for the church to celebrate church anniversary. The preaching is just an excuse for the church to celebrate church Thanksgiving. The preaching is just an excuse for a birthday celebration inside the church building. Yun ang totoo. Because preaching doesn't need church anniversary. Preaching doesn't need church Thanksgiving. Preaching doesn't need birthday celebration. It doesn't need that. Preaching is preaching. Ginagawa lang excuse para magawa yun. If you want preaching, then we can preach without these three, di ba? These three, church anniversary, church Thanksgiving, birthday celebration inside the church, have nothing to do with preaching the gospel. They are non-spiritual activities. They are without scriptural authority. Kung meron kayo, di pakita ninyo. Kaya sabi nila, another reason that they present, where do you read that this is prohibited in the scriptures? That's the old liberal argument, started by Martin Luther. If that is the case, then we can do anything in the church not specifically prohibited by the scriptures. We can have instrumental music because there is no verse in the scriptures that prohibits scripture instrumental music. We can help from the church treasury non-Christians because there is no verse in the scriptures that prohibits the church from helping the non-Christians. Then we can pray the rosary. There is no specific prohibition about praying the rosary. O kaya, we can smoke cigarette. There is no specific prohibition about smoking cigarette. Or we can take drugs. Bakit? There is a specific prohibition about taking drugs in the scriptures. Or we can dance inside the building because there is no specific prohibition about dancing inside the building, etc., etc., etc. So, pwede natin gawin kahit ano, basta hindi pinagbabawal ng Biblia. Hindi ba? Paano sasabihin niya? when someone says, where do you read that it is prohibited, that means he doesn't have a scriptural authority in the first place. Because if he had scriptural authority, he will not use that argument. He will present the scriptural authority. If this is true, then Noah could have used another kind of wood instead of gopher. Nadab and Abihu were killed by the Lord for using a profane fire, were unfairly killed by the Lord. Because there's the specific prohibition for using a profane fire. Kita nyo ang kaisipan na gano'n? It opens the door for anything. For as long as it is not specifically prohibited by the scriptures. For instance, observing the Lord's Supper by its family outside of the assembly. That is specifically prohibited. So we can do it. If that's the reasoning, that if there you cannot do something prohibited, then you can do it. Pwede tayo mag-Lord's Supper kahit mag-isa. Dahil yung mga pinagbabawal yun sa Biblia, wala sinasabing bawal yun. Saan nyo mababasa? Pero hindi rin sinasabi pwedeng gawin. The point is, it is not prohibited, but it is if it is scripturally authorized. Yan ang pagkakaiba ni Martin Luther at saka ni Zwingli. So sabi ni Zwingli, unless it is authorized, hindi natin pwedeng gawin. Sabi ni Martin Luther, unless it is specifically prohibited, then we can do it. It's complete opposite. So yun makikita niyo. O medical mission. Medical mission, if you're a doctor, you're a Christian, you're a medical doctor, you can help people if you want. If you want to treat them for free, that's okay. But there is another deal about medical mission. It is Philippine Christian Chronicle, Volume 1, issue number 5, August 99, page 2. Congregation involved in pre-medical and dental mission. A pre-medical and dental mission was hosted by the Largo Church of Christ. What is the reason? So they can have prospects. And that's not the way to preach the gospel. Medical mission is not the work of the church. May pero ginagawa yan. So makikita po natin mga kapatid, our time is dangerous. Whenever you see a strange noise, strange names being used by the brethren, we are in the beginning of a trouble, in the beginning of a division. If we don't take care, we should go back to the old. Where is the scriptural authority? Where is the direct command or direct statement? Where is the proof apostolic example? Where is the necessary inference before we can do or teach a thing? Kailangan yung bumalik tayo sa talagang tama. Ano saan natin mababasa yung direktong utos o pangusap tungkol sa isang bagay. Saan natin makikita yung huwaran na kinasya ng mga apostol. Saan natin mababasa yung necessary inference. If there is none, then we can do it. You can't do it. It's unscriptural. It's unauthorized. Kasimple lang po niyan. Bakit nagsisimula tayong gumawa ng mga bagay na wala sa Biblia? The irony of it is, some of those who celebrate birthday parties inside the building are also advocating that the baptizer should be a Christian. And they say that if a non-Christian will baptize, then the baptism is invalid. Now, where is the prohibition that says a non-Christian cannot baptize in the scriptures? Meron ba? There is none. So, following their argument, pwede magbaptismo hindi Kristiyano, di ba? If not, why not? Yung sinasabi na, meron ka bang mababasang bawal yung mag-celebrate tayo ng birthday party sa loob ng church building. Wala naman tayong mababasa o pinagbabawal mo. Wala naman tayong mababasang bawal ang hindi Kristiyano magbautismo sa Biblia. Meron ba? Meron ba tayong mababasang bawal magbautismo sa Biblia? Wala rin. So, ibig sabihin, bakit siya pinagbabawal? Kasi samantalang gumagawa siya ng bagay at hindi sinasabi na hindi mo pinagbabawal yun. That's the inconsistency. On the other hand, masyado silang extreme na dapat Kristiyano lang magbautismo kasi lahat ng halimbawa sa Biblia ang nagbautismo ng Kristiyano. Saan ngayon ang halimbawa sa Biblia na may ang mga Kristiyano ay nag-celebrate ng birthday party sa loob ng church building? Meron ba? Wala. Ba't ginagawa niyo? Meron ba tayong mababasang church anniversary ginagawa ng mga kapatid sa Bagong Tipan? Wala. Ba't ginagawa? Meron tayong mababasang halimbawa ng church thanksgiving sa Biblia? Wala. Ba't ginagawa? Meron ba tayong mababasang direct statement or command sa church anniversary sa Biblia? Wala. Bakit ginagawa? Meron tayong mababasang church thanksgiving na direct command or statement sa Biblia? Wala. Ba't ginagawa? Meron ba tayong mababasang direct necessary inference about birthday celebration inside the church building? Wala. Ba't ginagawa? This is a symptom of a liberal thinking sa mga kapatid. Yun ay symptom. Katulad nga ni Alexander Campbell noong unang panahon, katulad ng ating mga kapatid ng liberal noong 1950s, 1960s, ganun din yan. They are beginning to think of things not authorized by the scriptures. Ang problema ng liberalism, when we allow something that is unauthorized, we cannot prohibit any more other things that are not authorized either. You just open the floodgate of unscriptural things. That's the danger of liberal thinking. That's the reason God gave us a pattern to stay within. Because God knows what is best for us. So alam ng Diyos mabuti sa atin. So He gave us a pattern. That's the same with Noah. God gave a pattern for the ark. That's the same for Moses, who gave the pattern for the tabernacle. It's the same for us, God gave a pattern for the New Testament church. So we need to do things according to the pattern. Going beyond is dangerous. The liberal brethren said, a little liberalism will not harm. It's not dangerous. Yes, it is. And it was. Because the liberalism grew until such point that even among themselves, they divided. Kasi mayroon naging mas liberal kaysa sa iba. They went beyond the liberalism that the older generation desired. So they can no longer stop the wind. It became a whirlwind. Yun ang problema. That's the problem with going beyond the doctrine of Christ. But if we stay within the doctrine we have got, and we are in a safe situation, if we stay within the doctrine or pattern given to us by the Lord. Now I am observing, and I have evidence based on Facebook posts by the brethren that they are celebrating church anniversaries. They are celebrating church Thanksgiving with social activities. They are celebrating birthday parties inside the building. Where is the church? Where is the authority? Now I am surprised. Some preachers are silent because if we care about the Lord, if we care about His church, we cannot be silent. Just like Ezekiel, he has the fire in his bones. Just like Apostle Paul, we believe, therefore we speak. We cannot be silent against unauthorized things because we will be held accountable to the Lord on the last day. When Apostle Paul preached the whole counsel of God to the brethren of Ephesus, he said, I am free of all the blood of men, because he has done his responsibility of speaking and proclaiming the whole counsel of God. You know, sa Acts 20 verse 26, therefore I testify to you this day that I am innocent of the blood of all men. Why? Before I have not shone to declare to you the whole counsel of God. The whole counsel of God includes speaking against unscriptural practices, speaking against scriptural errors, speaking against unscriptural doctrines. That is included in declaring the whole counsel of God. Now, if you are silent, I do not know the reason why. If we are a preacher, we cannot be silent. We have to speak against those things not authorized by the Lord. We're not being contentious. We are just contending, proving and stating that those unauthorized practices are not authorized by the Lord and therefore sinful. That if you continue those things, you do not have God. There's still time to stop, but we need to study and understand what the will of the Lord is. Ignorance of the will, ignorance of the righteousness of God, will sometimes prompt people to make their own righteousness, to establish their own righteousness. Just like the Jews of old. Romans chapter 10. Paul said, brethren, my heart's desire and prayer for God to Israel is that they may be saved. For I bear them witness that they have a zeal for God, but not according to knowledge. For they, being ignorant of God's righteousness and seeking to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted to the righteousness of God. So when we begin to go beyond the doctrine of Christ, we are not submitting ourselves to the righteousness of God. We may have the zeal, just like the Jews of old, but will not be saved. Just like the Jews of old. Sana po ang ating aral ay nakatulong sa atin. It is not easy to preach against brethren whom we know and whom we love, but are doing something that unscriptural. That's not easy to do, but we have to do it. If we are indeed a soldier of Christ, we have to fight the good fight, just like what Paul did. So thank you very much for your listening. May God bless us as we do and keep His will. Amen.
Have thine own way, Lord. Have thine own way. Thou art the potter, I am the clay. Mold me and make me after thy will, while I am waiting, yielded and still. Have thine own way, Lord, have thine own way. Search me and try me, Master, today. Whiter than snow, Lord, wash me just now, as in thy presence humbly I bow. Have thine own way, Lord, have thine own way. Wounded and weary, help me, I pray. Power, all power, surely is thine. Touch me and heal me, Savior divine. Have thine own way, Lord, have thine own way. Hold o'er my being absolute sway. Fill with thy spirit, till all shall see Christ only, always living in me. My God and I go in the fields together. We walk friend should and do. We clasp our hands, our voices ring with laughter. My God and I walk through the meadows you. We clasp our hands, our voices ring with laughter. My God and I walk through the meadows you. He tells me of the years that went before me, when heavenly plans were made for me to be. When all was but a dream of dim conception, to come to life, earth's verdant glory see. When all was but a dream of dim conception, to come to life, earth's verdant glory see. My God and I will go for I together will walk and talk as good friends should and do. This earth will pass, and with it common trifles, but God and I will go unendingly. This earth will pass, and with it common trifles, but God and I will go unendingly.
Maraming salamat po mga kapatid sa inyong pakikinig. Ito po mga kapatid po nakinig po sa atin ngayon sa gabi ito. Si Earl Gabriel Foss, Kalunga, good evening. Gillian Len, good evening. Si Leonito Torreniza, matagal na po nating kapatid at kaibigan sa pananampalataya na ibang Arabi kadakayan kakapsat. Good evening to all the brethren. Rupert, good evening po Brad at to all the listeners and viewers. Medic Canono, magandang gabi sa lahat. Kabit sa Salunga, good evening po. Bilbar Jmar, magandang gabi po. Oljan Ocampo, good evening po. God send Sumagi Algaba, good evening brethren. As meron pong isang comment, it will help a lot if we keep the local church free from any social activity. The work of the church is enough to help the saints fulfill its heavenly duty. It's the work of the church is purely spiritual, devoid of any social activity. Social activity is not in the church. Wala po yung ganon. It's not a part of the work of the church. It is purely spiritual evangelism, edification, and church benevolence to the decrease. That's all. Outside of that, it's not authorized. So, makita po natin, maraming salamat po sa atin lahat, sa ating madyang pakikinig. As I've said, January 17 to 20 will be in Prito Diaz, Sorsogon. Yours truly with Brother Diaz Jr., preacher of the Capas Church of Christ, Archie Alarcon, preacher of the Unity Church of Christ in San Fernando City, Pampanga. Jojo Takbad, preacher of the Betis Church of Christ, and Brother John Bautista, Brianna's Village Church of Christ, Cabanatuan City, and Brother Rafael Chabaria, member of the Capas Tandak Church of Christ, will be together to going to Greta Diaz. I'll be speaking about the church falling away and apostasy and restoration. And the second day, I'll be preaching about lesson from Jericho, an example of grace through faith. So yun po ang ating magiging paksa. Maganda po yung mga paksa. Brother Archie, the One True Church, Brother John Bautista, Church and the Individual, si Willie Pastor, the work of the church, Brother Lydia Abdiner, Idolatry, and Jojo Takbad. Nakalimutan ko yung kay Brother Jojo Takbad yung kanyang mensahe. How to enter the kingdom. Naalala ko rin. So yun po ang ating mga and the second day, malaya po kami sa aming mga paksa. So pinili ko lang po yung lesson from Jericho, an illustration of grace through faith. So yun po ang ating magiging paksa. Panahin po natin ang magiging matagumpay po ang gospel meeting na yan, January 18 to 19. Isa po lang sa panalangin ng mga si Sister Kathy Forello, isang kapatid na asawa ni Brother Jerome Forello at anak ni Brother Brody Compa. Siya po ay may sakit, ano po, typhoid fever at saka dengue fever. Panalangin din po natin si Brother Juanito Balbin ng Downtown Church of Christ sa New Matina, Davao City. Siya po ay may sakit kasi dala po siguro ng edad niya, 76 years old. At ipanalangin, sama rin sa panalangin si Brother Juanito Esquadra na mayroong chronic kidney disease. So yung dalawa po ay magigiting na mga ngaral. Si Sister Kathy, isang asawa ng isang mga actually siya isang manggagamot. So isama po natin sila sa ating mga panalangin sapagkat naniniwala tayo na may nagagawang panalangin. So tayo po ay maghihiwalay sa pamagitan din ng panalangin. Ang panalangin po ay kasalukuyan pa rin nandito sa sanlibutan, nabubuhay. Subalit na maalakad kami sa inyong kalooban. Kami nasa sanglibutan, pero hindi kami taga sanglibutan. Ang aming tunay tahanan, nakatulad sila pinangako nyo sa amin ay sa langit, mabakpainan mo. Ama, kami po ay sa kaluyang panahon ay nagkakaroon po ng kalungkutan sa mga nakikita naming mga bagay na hindi mo kalooban na ginagawa ng ibang mga kapatiran. Naway mabuksan na kailang kaisipan upang bumalik sa tamang landas na inyong ipinahayag sa amin sa pamagitan ng iyong salita. Ama, kami po ay humingi ng patawaran sa iyong pagkukulang. Kami po ay maharap sa inyo, nagtakumaba. Kinikilala namin na kami mga maksalanan na iyong niligtas lamang kaya kami naging mga matuwid. Pagpatuloy po sana namin igpa, Ama, ang gawain ng pangangaral sa gitna ng anumang pagkakataon, sa gitna ng panganib, sa gitna ng obsesyon ng mga lumalaban sa katotohanan. At ang mga bagay ito ay may hinihingi, dakilang pangalan sa Kristo. Amen. Maraming salamat mga kapatid. Ingat po tayo. Hopefully, the Lord willing, we'll be together next week, Monday. Ano yun? January 22. January 22. Tapos January 24, January 26. Ang bilis ng panahon. Papalapit ng matapos ang January. Maraming salamat. God bless. Take care.